What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Like always, like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. Today I want to talk about David Weber's on Basilisk Station. This has been sitting in my TBR for months, and I don't know, everyone told me I would like it. I need to get around to reading it. Well, I finally did, and I'll tell you straight up before we get into the rating and all that, I got 50 pages in. No, it took like 100 pages. I was about 100 pages in, and I went and ordered the next 9 off eBay. I found a lot. I was like, basically, what you get with David Weber's writing, in my opinion anyways, is if Star Trek and Tom Clancy had a baby, this is what you're going to get. The writing, it took me, usually a 400-page book I can read in a day or two. But this book took me about 4 days. The writing was very complex, but so amazing. The writing was just technically proficient. It was just so, I don't know. It was just so so concise and good. I don't know how else to explain it. But I had a freaking amazing time. My mustache is going crazy today. Sorry. It looks crazy in this lighting. The book was amazing. I will admit, the first like 50, 60 pages or so, I was getting used to his writing style, and I was a little bit kind of thrown off with it. It took me a minute to manage his writing. I couldn't speed read him and retain it. I had to slow down and read everything out. But after about 250 pages, I picked up the pace and was good to go. Like, it took me 3 days to read half the book, and I finished the second half, on the night of recording this video, March 15th. So I was going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I was struggling with the beginning of the book. But I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. The final battle sequence, the build-up to the final battle that Honor Arrington and her crew has on her ship Fearless is just, it's spectacular. It's marvelously written. It's so good. Like, it's just, this is by far my first true space opera. All I've read, for as far as like space books go, is Star Trek and Star Wars. So to branch off, and this was definitely technically driven. He's a very detailed writer, so everything was very fleshed out and detailed. So, you got to go in knowing that you're going to get a very proficient and, wordy book, I guess you could say. It's very, even though this one is shorter, he put a lot into it. And it's really a lot of setup for the final, 100 and so pages. Basically, she gets the short end of the stick. She's getting crapped on as a new commander. She runs into basically an old enemy that, he's at the bottom because he did something in her past, and she called him on it, and he went down. And he's working in a place called Basilisk Station, which no one wants to patrol because it's all like smugglers and merchants just in and out, in and out. And no one's ever taken care of it all these years. Well, her enemy decides to pull a fast one on her, and he's like, you gotta deal with this area. My ship needs repairs. So her and her crew's already there. Her crew's already down and out because she already got shafted earlier in the book. Set up for failure from the get-go. So her crew doesn't really like her. So now she's tasked with the impossible of manning this whole entire area with not enough resources, not enough crew. And she somehow manages and pulls it off. Well, this catches the attention of the basically like the main, your head honcho lady of Basilisk Station. And so now, what she's doing is making waves, and it's all leading up to one thing. There's a planet there that has these like praying mantis-like creatures, and they are able to manufacture this drug called Makoa. And it basically makes people like invincible for a few minutes before they just die, or they just get hooked and basically become invalid. Like, it's terrible. And you have these different governments. It's space, so it's vast. and she starts to, Honor and her crew start to figure out that one of these governments may be, using this drug to stir an uprising on this planet, to go into that planet and take it over, and be able to justify it. So they got all these like praying mantis things like hyped up, and one of the battle sequences in the end, like a little bit of Marines are down there just blasting wave after wave after wave of these drugged up praying mantis monsters, just millions of them, and it's just intense. It's sick, and the battles are just brutal battles the whole time, and it was just an absolute blast. Once it got going, and it was an absolute blast. And Honor Harrington is such a likable character. David Weber does a great job making her character not like over obnoxious or like, this super awesome like badass or anything like that. It was just a good job. You know what I mean? She is a great character, and I'm going to read one book a month for the rest of the year for sure. I might try to squeeze 2 a month in. We'll see what happens. But I'm loving this series, and like I said, a 10 out of 10. David Weber knocks it out of the park. My first book by him won't be my last for sure. And I plan on reading everything in the Honorverse. I know it branches out from the regular Honor Harrington books. I want to read them all now. Like, I loved this thing. This book was it was so good. There's way more to it that I would like to talk about, but as I've said before in other videos, I've been called on for giving spoilers, so I try not to give too many. But what I will say is the book was fantastic. I loved it. And the final battle sequence between her ship and her crew and a much larger ship is just, like I said, it was like Tom Clancy meets Star Trek. You get that Star Trek vibe with all that Tom Clancy detail, and it was amazing. Like, if you know the channel, I love Star Trek books, and Tom Clancy's my favorite author. And already I can say I'd like to read 1 or 2 more by him, but I'm going to go ahead and say he's probably going to bump into the top 10. I mean, I'm pretty sure of it. I love the book that much. So next up, coming up on the TBR, I got to make a choice tonight when I go to bed, and I'll start tomorrow. I got 2 that I want to read. Either it's going to be Star Wars Tatooine Ghost by Troy Denning, or Door Number 3 by Dan Kemp, an indie military thriller. As you know, I am going to be starting my work on my military thriller, In the Teeth of Lions, so I'm trying to read indie authors outside of, I'm trying to read indie authors, not just Tom Clancy and WEB. So since I finished this one a day earlier than I thought, I think I might give this one a whirl and try to get it done by Monday, and then, try to click through the rest of my TBR. I might push Executive Orders by Tom Clancy back into June, which is no big deal. That's a huge book. So that's the video today, guys. Just wanted to talk about on Basilisk Station by David Weber a little bit. So like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Later.